But when I saw this headline yesterday, I meant to cover it, I didn't get to it, but Shikari did a report last night for the Nightly News. It's just so over the top. But that's what all of this is about, is breaking our will. Just like when the feds came out a few years ago and told women to vomit or urinate on someone that's trying to rape you. That's the feminist thing to do. No, don't teach women how to use guns and have them carry guns, and then attacks on women basically disappear in areas where that happens. Carjackings in Florida and Texas that were epidemic ended for all intents and purposes, went down 99%. Look it up. Within 2 years of concealed carry going in. Do you think muggers like in Chicago and New York, like areas of Texas, do you think they go out to rural areas and mug good old boys in their trucks? No. Just like they don't stick their arms in Arizona down rattlesnake holes. A nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves. Actually, a nation of cowards will be gang raped by every criminal type you can imagine, and we are being gang raped. Financially, economically, physically. It's only going to get worse. Now, all of that said, I want to open the phones up specifically for police officers, and I won't make you hold a long time. I know a lot of you are on duty. You're out there working. Or even recently retired police officers, just to get your take on this, if you agree or disagree with me. Now listen to the 3 points I'm going to make. Because the same tactics used here are used in other countries. I'm going to tie 3 stories together. You have jihad training camps set up since the 1980s, allowing jihadis to train to go to Pakistan, Afghanistan, and other areas in the U.S., and they're on no-fly list because other agencies put them on that. They're allowed to fly in and out of the country. The underwear bomber, the latest attackers in Paris, the attacker at Fort Hood was known and was allowed to operate. All this has come out. Same story. The head of the 7/7 bombings. That's mainstream news. That's not me even saying that. This stuff comes out. It's a very simple equation. Let them build up. Let them create a threat. Let them attack with their useful idiot jihadis. Then basic Americans get our freedoms taken. Then the overarching militarization and federalization and globalization of police can expand. But that's not enough to take over the country. How did George Soros get $5 billion of State Department money in 2013, 2014, and then go on Fareed Zakaria's show? We have a transcript from the video posted on Infowars.com from May 27th of last year, about 7 months ago. He came out and he said, quote, I am responsible for the operations and the overthrow of Ukraine. They went in and financed with $5 billion using real and perceived grievances and hyped grievances, basically anti-police riots all over the country. They then had their government take the government building, unelected, and then they put Joe Biden's son over the oil and other Democratic officials' children, literally, children, college graduates, but children, over the entire economy and began a war against Russia. I'm not defending Russia, saying they're perfect and lily white. The West started it. George Soros, a Nazi collaborator demon who's brought down countless countries, financing riots to devalue their currencies. He's on record doing that. He brags. He's brought down more than 7 nations, looted their currencies. He brought down Ireland. He brought down England for a while. He's brought down a whole bunch of third world countries. Why would he finance? And I'm not saying that the Ukrainian government was perfect, but it was elected. They take legitimate things on the surface that sound like a reason to get upset, and then they use it to bring in even greater tyranny later. And now Ukraine, a year later, is in total shambles. So here he is. Soros admits responsibility for coup and mass murder in Ukraine. He told George Soros, Fareed Zakaria, over the weekend he's responsible for establishing a foundation in Ukraine that ultimately contributed to the overthrow of the country's elected leader and the installation of a junta handpicked by the State Department. And it has the quote right here. First, on Ukraine, one of the things that many people recognized about you was that you were, during the revolutions of 1989, funded a lot of dissentive activities, civil society groups in Eastern Europe. That's not what Zakaria sounds like. It's what Soros sounds like. Europe and Poland and the Czech Republic. Are you doing similar things in Ukraine? Zakaria asked Soros. Well, I will set up a foundation in Ukraine before Ukraine became independent of Russia, and the foundation has been functioning ever since and played an important part in the events now, Soros responded. And he went on. Okay. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What does he found and fund? Media Matters. He tells the White House what to do. Media Matters is their mouthpiece. Who do they attack? Ron Paul, Rand Paul, Alex Jones, Matt Drudge, freedom of speech, gun ownership, state sovereignty. And they call, in their memos that have been made public by even Bloomberg and Politico 4 years ago, to infiltrate media and bring it down. I mean, they try to get people in your operations, folks. And I'm not going to go into all of it, but a lot of people have faced it. I mean, they don't play games, okay? They are a spy intelligence operation of George Soros. They're just one group. This guy overthrows countries. You understand that? He used the white supremacists to take over Ukraine. The deputy president they put in howls Hitler on TV. You can pull it up. Their symbol is blonde-haired women shooting electricity bolts like Emperor Palpatine out of their hands, and he's howling Hitler. You cannot make up stuff this weird. But he's liberal, so it's okay, because he said he was liberal and gives money to everybody, billions. He's a mob boss. And so you got George Soros running around doing all this. He's trying to overthrow that. Enter this story that I covered yesterday from the Washington Times. Now, again, we'd already covered this. And I say that to say we can confirm this. You can blow up in the videos or look at the names on the signs. He doesn't hide it. Kind of like he went on 60 Minutes and said, yeah, I was a Nazi collaborator, rounded up, all these people. I'm not ashamed of it. I survived. I'm proud of myself, basically. He admits he's trying to undermine the U.S. sovereignty. He admits he wants your guns. He admits he overthrew Ukraine. He was the point man. He's tried it before. George Soros funds Ferguson protests, hopes to spur civil action. So he uses some of the heavy-handed tactics, the globalist training of the police, the rest of it, to then demonize police themselves to try to start a revolution in America pointed at the police that will drive the police into the Fed's arms as their saviors, break them, and get them to accept the paramilitary takeover, which is what he wants. He doesn't want a revolution like he wanted in Ukraine that actually overthrows the government. He wants to spur a destabilization, to bring in a greater tyranny, to give Obama a smokescreen, to bring in martial law. If it would have worked, just like they tried to use Occupy Wall Street, he funded to do this. And folks, this is heavy information. I'm not giving you my opinion. This is a fact. $33 million. I'm the guy that made 4 films on the police state, wrote a book on it, predicted all that was coming because I read the Rand Corporation documents and others and had sources. But I wasn't against the police. I was against them being taken over and being turned into basically North Korean-style enforcers. Now to try to get them to do that, they want to have a war against the police to then force them into that position. Just like they start the war on terror against radical Muslims, next you learn, oh, it's really for the Tea Party. Same deal. This is the plan. And so here he is, 33 million of his billions he gives just to spur this. And the Washington Times did an investigative report and links through that he was involved in the Zimmerman organization, the Soros Open Society Foundation. That's the one that overthrew Ukraine, is operating in America. Hey, blacks, your unemployment doubled? How do we make sure Soros's puppet Obama doesn't get the blame? Cause a race war, a soft race war of names. Make it all about the white truck driver who's going bankrupt. He's the reason a black truck driver's going broke. Or a white teacher. She's the reason a black teacher across town has trouble in school. No. Or a cop. A cop. Just randomly project all your anger, not at the Federal Reserve, not at the IRS, not at the New World Order, not at the Attorney General shipping guns into Mexico to blame gun owners and false flag the Second Amendment. Blame cops. And I told you he was behind it. This guy is a literal demon. And he's par for the course. He's just one of the more arrogant, outspoken people. I know somebody that's been in the East Coast home, I'll just leave it at that, of George Soros, and the entire place is black mirrors and black paint and black floors. Do you know why people have their house like that? Do you know what black mirrors are used for? That's as hardcore Satanism as you get. Black floors, black walls, black mirrors. Can you imagine where this guy's heart is? This is who wants your guns. This is who's taking over the public schools. This is who literally runs CNN, MSNBC, and the White House. If you got to say one person, he's the guy calling the shots. More than Brzezinski, more than Kissinger. He is the guy on the ground getting it done, the war general, the field marshal, the Erwin Rommel. He is in the field, folks. He is coming. And he's got his people just out there engaged in every dirty trick you can imagine. And you know what? I just expect that flying in over the enemy base. So I don't care. It's fine. I expect it. If I didn't have these people jacking with me and messing with me and pulling all sorts of stuff that I'm not even going to get into, then I wouldn't know that I was over the main target. So I'm not complaining. I expect it. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going 110% in. I'm dropping my load on these people, and that's the end of it. We're going to fly in over the base. We're going to pull that lever. And we're going to make sure those bombs go in the info war. But he knows we're winning the info war. That's why he wants to finance false flags. And I'll say it, the Democratic Party, 3 years ago, their memos came out where they said, we want to blame Glenn Beck, Alex Jones, people like that for the next terror attack. You know, give the Democrats money. Don't worry if it looks like we're unpopular. We're going to be popular after the next terror attack. Well, folks, there's no even veiled denial there. They're telling you what they're up to, and just get ready for it. And so the police of this country need to understand something. If you want to know who's financing radical Islamicists in Egypt and Syria, it's George Soros, on record. You want to know who financed the Arab Spring? George Soros. You want to know who's destabilizing Europe? George Soros. You want to know who plans to get your pension funds in the end? It's George Soros. You want to know who's trying to finance groups and had little pasty white kids out there with signs saying, deck the halls with dead cops, fa la la, la la la. You want to play the clips? They are all not even communists or socialists. They're hardcore takeover revolutionaries who know they're on the winning team, they believe, and who go to these universities and who learn how to manipulate. Remember Gruber at all those university speeches teaching the professors how to lie and the graduate students? And everyone laughing and smiling, feeling included into the evil? We're not demonizing George Soros. He's all I've said and more. And I don't enjoy having to stand up against him, but my very being, my will not let me do anything but that. I just can't not fight this guy because he's an enemy of every person that wants peace and prosperity and freedom. And you've been warned out there, all of you. If you don't realize how serious this is, and you think, oh, he's exaggerating. No, I'm not. I don't have words to tell you how serious these people are. We don't have a guest joining us for 30 minutes. We have the state rep getting a lot done in Utah. Very exciting. They're taking the land back from the feds. It's happened. The bill's passed. Now the fight's on. But we've won the first major stage. He's going to be joining us. Walter Jones just called and got his time zones wrong. He's going to be on Monday. So we're going to have a lot of open phones today on Friday except for one guest. And I want to hear the first bank of calls. I'll go right to your calls at the start of the next segment. Sometimes I want police officers to call them. We can load the line. Sometimes none of you call. If you're off duty, on duty, whatever, you need to get in the habit of speaking out or you're going to lose everything, just like we are. We're all in this together. Are you going to I'm asking you point blank, you going to let George Soros spend $33 million to take unfortunate events and scapegoat every single one of you so you get shot in the head in your patrol cars or so your family gets killed? You going to put up with this crap while he has Media Matters claiming I'm violent and want cops dead? How many times have they made that up with no proof? Can't you see? I'm trying to stop a civil war, not because I'm a hero, but because I want to have a future and I want freedom for my family. That means you need freedom too. Rising tides raise all ships. A lowering tide will beach us all. And I'm sick of it, and I'm not laying down to these people. Where is our spirit? I want to hear from the police. And why not active duty military? Police, because active duty military are police now. You're going to be domestically involved in the civil unrest if this all kicks off. He's not been successful so far, thank God. A few more cases, though, of out-of-control cops choking somebody to death and the media hyping it. They want to start a civil war. I've been telling you for years. It's starting. They're now saying that in the media. 800-259-9231. 1-800-259-9231.